This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own?
Detain it, not this.
So civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law. But if true, it could rise to the level of criminality. And, we'll see what happens if the DA looks and investigates.
Welcome back to Fame Flux, where the truth behind fame gets exposed. Beyonce, the global icon who has stood at the peak of pop culture for 2 decades, is reportedly breaking down behind closed doors. Insiders claim she is devastated, distraught, and openly crying after a stunning courtroom decision few in the industry ever thought possible. Rymir Satterthwaite, the man who has spent years insisting that Jay Z is his biological father, has allegedly achieved the unthinkable. A family court victory now awards him half of Jay Z's fortune.
No felonies, I'm not crazy or none of that. It's like, I just want the truth, and it's so hard to get it from the courts. And it seems like Jay Z don't want to say anything, so I don't want to see him go down for something that you could have just got taken care of. That's it.
Half, not just a symbolic share, but a staggering division of the empire Sean Carter built across music, fashion, sports, and entertainment industries. Because so much of that wealth is deeply intertwined with Beyonce's own businesses and ventures, the ruling doesn't just hit him, it directly threatens her financial world as well. Suddenly, the Carters, once celebrated as the golden couple of American music, are standing on the very brink of collapse.
Took them to some apartment building, and they did what they did in there. Talked a little bit, had a good time, party, and I guess I can't fully talk as my mom because I'm not my mom. I'm just telling you guys what she told me. It was this, and I honestly just believe it. It's just no doubt.
Watching their empire fracture in real time. Imagine the scene for a moment. Beyonce, who has carefully cultivated the image of resilience and untouchable power, now feels trapped in the fallout of her husband's past. For years, she endured whispers of betrayal, from public cheating confessions to the infamous elevator fight that became legend. But this is different. This is no rumor of flings or secret messages. This is a legal ruling with teeth. A gavel has come down, and with it, decades of tightly controlled wealth may now belong to someone unexpected. Beyonce never asked for this fight to enter her life. Sources describe her as shattered and betrayed, realizing that Jay Z's hidden past could potentially destroy everything she has tirelessly built and fought to protect. What makes the moment even more shocking is the David versus Goliath storyline unfolding before the world. Once dismissed as nothing more than a clout chaser, a young man from New Jersey, without the armies of lawyers, money, and industry muscle that Jay Z commands, has somehow emerged victorious.
Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
His late mother, Wanda, spent years pleading with courts to order a paternity test, insisting she had a relationship with Jay Z during the early 1990s. Those attempts were repeatedly brushed aside, sealed away in hidden records, or dismissed on legal technicalities. Yet now, her son stands positioned as the victor, pulling down not only recognition, but financial spoils that could cripple an empire built over decades. If these claims are true, it represents one of the most humiliating defeats Jay Z has ever endured.
This morning, rap mogul Jay Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
It raises the urgent question: how did this courtroom battle unravel so disastrously against him? His lawyers have long painted the challenger's efforts as nothing more than a relentless, decades-long campaign of harassment, portraying him as obsessed with chasing fame through endless litigation. But in the eyes of this family court, that narrative simply didn't hold. Instead, the story of a son denied his father's acknowledgement carried more weight than the polished defenses of a global superstar mogul. And while Jay Z's legal team insists they will appeal and fight back, the ruling, for now, remains in place. The number attached is staggering: half his wealth, a breathtaking figure that immediately ripples far beyond Jay Z's personal fortune. It pushes directly into the empire he painstakingly built with Beyonce. That is where the situation grows even more explosive and unstable. Beyonce's fortune is not entirely separate from her husband's. Over the years, the Carters merged businesses, co-owned properties, collaborated on worldwide tours.
Jay Z got his whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got it. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your
Music projects and ventures, presenting themselves as one unified, unshakable brand. Now that carefully constructed brand is bleeding. If Jay Z's assets are slashed, if accounts are frozen or holdings liquidated, Beyonce's financial world inevitably gets dragged into the storm. This is why whispers are growing louder in the industry. Beyonce may be preparing to divorce him. Insiders close to the family claim she has begun consulting her legal team, exploring ways to protect her personal fortune, her Ivy Park fashion line, and her Parkwood entertainment company before the court's reach stretches into her accounts. To put it bluntly, she may have no choice but to cut Jay Z loose if she hopes to safeguard her empire.
I don't give no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
Was assaulted by both men. That, of course, raises another brutal question. Does Beyonce even want to remain in this marriage? This ruling is not only about money. It has reopened wounds surrounding Jay Z's history, the shadows he never allowed light to touch. Those shadows are resurfacing with devastating force. Rymir is not the first to claim a blood tie to him. Years earlier, a woman named Letitia Messer stepped forward, insisting she was Jay Z's daughter, backed by family members who claimed they witnessed the relationship that produced her.
At that time, I remember thinking, I can't be mad at her because that is what the media portrayed.
One of her relatives even wrote online, "I know the story from start to finish. I hooked your mother and father up." There were also allegations that Jay Z secretly purchased her a home in Maryland and covered her bills in exchange for silence, forbidding her from displaying photographs of him. If even fragments of those whispers hold any truth, then Rymir's victory may represent just the beginning of a devastating cascade of consequences.
Beyonce for sure. I love her. I love Beyonce. Jay Z too, I really admire the both of them.
Think about the stakes. If one claimant has already managed to bring Jay Z to his knees, what happens if others follow that success and take their shot? Could Messer pursue her own lawsuit, demanding recognition or financial compensation? Could additional names from his past emerge suddenly?
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
In today's era, reputations crumble in days, and legal systems move with surprising speed against celebrities once thought untouchable. The possibility of more alleged children surfacing is no longer far-fetched. With each new claim, Beyonce's nightmare deepens. This is the woman who has built herself into an institution, a brand as powerful as Apple or Nike, and yet she is reportedly reduced to tears as the cracks inside her marriage continue widening, threatening everything built over decades. Behind the scenes, frantic damage control is underway. Jay Z's circle insists Rymir's win is temporary, that higher courts will reverse it, that the empire remains safe. Yet insiders whisper about closed-door meetings, accountants scrambling, and business partners growing nervous about joint ventures suddenly hanging in the balance. No one wants to be tied to a dynasty crumbling in public. This isn't just about music or record sales. Jay Z has his hands in sports management, streaming platforms, luxury brands, liquor companies, and sprawling real estate holdings across the country. If those assets are halved, if ownership shifts unexpectedly, the ripple effect could destabilize entire industries that rely on his influence and financial power. And then there is Beyonce, Once the global symbol of unity and loyalty, she is now reportedly planning her exit. Can anyone blame her? She has stood by Jay Z through scandals before, including his very public admissions of unfaithfulness and the infamous elevator incident. But this is different. This isn't a rumor whispered in blogs. It is a courtroom headline splashed across tabloids worldwide, one that paints her husband as a man with hidden children and suppressed past relationships. Every step she takes now will be dissected endlessly. If she divorces him, critics will say she abandoned him in crisis. If she stays, they will argue she sacrificed her fortune and dignity to protect a man who deceived her. Either path carries monumental consequences for her legacy. Adding fuel to this inferno are whispers of more secret payouts. Industry veterans have long hinted that Jay Z's fortune quietly funded private settlements designed to bury potential scandals. If even part of that rumor is true, those settlements could now be exposed during discovery processes, dragging names, details, and stories into the unforgiving public eye. What was once hidden in the shadows may be forced into blinding light. Imagine the impact if not just one, but multiple individuals suddenly stepped forward, each insisting they share blood with Jay Z. It would be a dynasty-ending scandal, the type that transforms icons into cautionary tales and rewrites legacies overnight. At that time, many observed that the media narrative framed Beyonce as the stoic figure, caught in a storm not of her own making. We are now staring at a marriage once branded as flawless, a perfect power couple, seemingly untouchable, suddenly under siege from forces neither of them can fully control. The question hanging in the air is brutal. How much did Beyonce know? And how long has she been preparing for this exact moment? For years, she publicly presented Jay Z as her equal partner in both business and life. But was there always a private understanding that shadows from his past might one day resurface? Or is she only now realizing how fragile her carefully constructed empire truly is? These questions matter, because the tangled web of Carter wealth is far more fragile than many realize. Roc Nation, the crown jewel of Jay Z's empire, is intricately tied to management contracts, publishing rights, and global touring deals, many of which lean heavily on Beyonce's unmatched star power. Ivy Park, once a promising fashion collaboration, is already rumored to be struggling financially after parting ways with Adidas. Their real estate empire, from Bel Air to New York to sprawling Hamptons estates, is jointly held, making it vulnerable. Even their investments in art, tech startups, and streaming ventures are deeply interlaced. If Rymir's ruling sticks, carving assets down the middle, the legal process could expose the Carter financial map in unprecedented detail. Which leaves one pressing question: has Beyonce already placed her legal team on high alert, quietly drawing battle lines to safeguard what is rightfully hers before the storm fully breaks? Her legal strategy may ultimately reveal more than her public words ever could. Insiders whisper that Beyonce has already begun quietly restructuring assets under Parkwood Entertainment, carefully insulating revenue streams that Jay Z cannot legally access or influence. If accurate, it would be a calculated and bold maneuver, one that signals clear self-preservation above all else. In the world of billion-dollar empires, financial paper trails speak louder than any marriage vows. A separation of wealth often comes before a separation of lives, and the gossip mill is already buzzing with speculation that Beyonce may be preparing for the most shocking divorce in modern music history. Imagine the headlines: the queen of R&B walking away not because of love lost, but to preserve legacy and empire. What makes this moment so compelling is the double life Beyonce is rumored to have lived for years. Publicly, she has projected a serene, almost untouchable image. Never messy, never scandalous, always poised and polished. Yet privately, she has often been cast as the fixer, the strategist, the one cleaning up behind-the-scenes chaos caused by her husband's indiscretions and missteps. We have caught glimpses of this storm in her music, lyrics laced with fury, betrayal, and coded references to fractured trust. But she never allowed the full reality to spill into interviews or public statements. Now, however, This ruling drags her into the open. If half her fortune is suddenly at risk, she can no longer remain silent. This emotional tightrope is unforgiving. On one side, Beyonce is the wife, the mother, the woman blindsided by revelations that could humiliate even the strongest figure. On the other side, she is a corporation unto herself, a global brand whose every move carries profound financial consequences and market reverberations. Fans are left asking hard questions. Did she already know about these hidden claims and quietly choose endurance for the sake of stability? Or is she just as blindsided as the rest of the world? If she knew, her decision to remain raises difficult questions about the true cost of loyalty. If she didn't, then the betrayal cuts deeper, and her tears reflect a woman forced to confront her marriage as an intricate business trap rather than a sanctuary. Meanwhile, Jay Z's carefully crafted image is crumbling. For years, he projected himself as the ultimate hustler who turned raw street smarts into boardroom dominance. The family man who built generational wealth and provided his children with a future he never had. He stood beside Beyonce as proof of his transformation, presenting himself as a man who transcended the chaos of his past. But with this ruling, that myth fractures. Instead of a mogul in complete control, we see a figure cornered by ghosts from the 1990s. Ghosts that refuse to remain silent. And if Rymir has secured victory, what prevents others from following the same path? Could Letitia Messer reemerge emboldened by precedent? Could still more names appear? Individuals Jay Z's circle may have worked tirelessly to keep away from the spotlight? The ripple effect is punishing. Business partners despise instability, and Jay Z's empire is built almost entirely on trust and partnerships. Streaming platforms, sports agencies, luxury brands, and corporate investors do not want to be entangled in prolonged litigation or explosive family drama. Already, whispers suggest that some partners are pausing negotiations, choosing to wait and see whether his dynasty survives or collapses under the storm. A mogul without stability is not a mogul at all. If lawsuits continue piling up and payouts drain resources, the Carter empire could be reduced to rubble within only a few short years. The irony is striking. After decades of surviving rivalries, public controversies, and even brushes with criminal charges in his early career, it may be his own bloodline, real or alleged, that finally unravels him completely. Beyoncé's position in this storm is nearly impossible to envy. Known for her fierce privacy, this scandal threatens to strip her of that shield. When one half of a global power couple is ordered to surrender vast fortunes, the other cannot hide behind silence forever. She may be forced into court appearances, compelled to make public statements, or even pushed to acknowledge whispers she has long ignored. Every word she speaks will be dissected, and every silence will be interpreted as guilt, complicity, or calculated distance. The question looms: does she defend him, risking her own reputation and fortune? Or does she step apart, presenting herself as a queen reclaiming her throne alone? For years, silence has been Beyoncé's most effective weapon. Unlike many of her peers, she has rarely spoken publicly about her private struggles, choosing instead to let her art carry the narrative. That restraint built an aura of control, a sense that nothing could truly shake her composure. When rumors of infidelity surrounded her marriage, she didn't give interviews or issue statements. Instead, she delivered Lemonade, an album that turned whispered humiliation into cultural triumph. But this moment feels different. A courtroom ruling that threatens to strip away half her family's fortune is not the kind of scandal that can be smoothed over with symbolism or poetic lyrics alone. It demands a new strategy, and the world is waiting to see if she chooses words, actions, or silence to protect her empire. Her choice to speak could reinvigorate her career in unimaginable ways. If she seizes the moment, the very scandal threatening to dismantle her world could instead become the spark that cements her as more than an entertainer, an unbreakable force who transforms even betrayal into fuel for legacy. Of course, the risk is equally great. By stepping into the spotlight of confession, she risks opening doors she has spent decades keeping closed. Every revelation will invite scrutiny, and every omission will be dissected endlessly by media and fans alike. Yet history has proven that Beyoncé thrives in moments of high-stakes reinvention, whether through groundbreaking music, cultural statements, or carefully timed announcements. She has repeatedly shown the ability to reframe narratives that once seemed insurmountable. The only question is whether she will once again wield silence as her shield or shatter it entirely to reclaim her story on her own terms. This is why fans remain on edge. The Carters have long been the blueprint of modern celebrity power couples, partners in life, art, and global commerce. But power couples do not always last forever, and the cracks in this empire are now visible to the world. What we are witnessing may not be just another scandal. It may be the unraveling of a dynasty. And with dynasties, once the illusion of perfection breaks, the entire foundation begins to crumble. So we are left staring at an empire in peril, a marriage under siege, and a woman caught between survival and loyalty. The only question now is, will Beyoncé cut ties to preserve her crown or gamble her future trying to salvage a kingdom already collapsing? Tell us what you think. Has the Carter reign finally reached its end? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more in-depth breakdowns, and stay tuned because the truth always finds its way out.